Intergovernmental Relations, and Public Transportation Committee for Tuesday, May 7th, 2019 is called to order. Clerk, please take the roll.
Calling the roll, Ms. Baker.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Schrein.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, Ms. Liu.
Good afternoon. I'm here again to show my personal support to our great Inspector General office. Without this office, it's very possible lots of things will go wrong again, just like in the past. That's not what we need for our county. We want our county to be a healthy and progressive organizations for everybody residing in this place. So let's talk about another issue which this committee should be also interested. It's also for the whole county. It's about our public transportation system. And this afternoon, 2 p.m., I actually sent an email, not only to this committee, 5 members, and also actually to all county council members, plus the chief of staff for county council, because our RTA finally wised up. They know having public input actually is good for them. Just like how county, you can work on lots of things because you take public input seriously. So here they started from yesterday. This is the example I will show. They were not cheap, very good. They really printed all the important information, big and large. The reason I send the information to all of you, that's because each of you represent your district. And definitely there are lots of people in your district who still consider public transportation system is good for county to have, for everybody to use. So not only we should encourage people to take the survey on the RTA's website, and also we wish they will all come to these meetings. So these, this list I sent to all of you will have the date, time, and location. You definitely should find a location which is in your district at your convenient time you may attend. So you can see how well these meetings are and what they should improve. So when you call for the next meeting for RTA to come in here, you will have a better idea what RTA has been doing. They have been finally gone to the right track to really understand they are a public service organizations, but lots of things in the past put a very bad accumulation, just like all other county issues. So I wish you will be able to attend and encourage people to take that survey. So in that case, we will have a very good voices from everybody in this county to build up our public transportation system. And I would like to leave this for the staff. So when you need to refer that, even you don't have that in hand, next time when you have a meeting, you will have a record. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in public comments?
No one else is signed in.
Thank you. All right, I ask for the approval of the minutes from April 2nd, 2019.
So move. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Minutes approved. Madam Clerk, please read the matter referred to committee.
Ordinance number 2018-0013, amending section 204.01 of the county code to require county agencies to provide a response to recommendations issued as part of an investigation of the Agency of Inspector General, and to update the county code in accordance with the adoption of Article 15 of the county charter.
Thank you. I would ask that Michael King move forward and give us an overview of the language since we met at our last committee on April 2nd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon to you and to members of the committee, Michael King, council staff. As you recall from the last committee, this ordinance was held because the county executive had asked the law department to look into whether the legislation might violate separation of powers principles, and the committee agreed to give the law department time to research the issue. So Following that committee, we had some conversations with the interim law director, Nora Hurley, and others, and we set up a meeting between the relevant stakeholders, including the legislation sponsors, the county executive, the law department, and the inspector general, to see if we could reach a consensus on some language that would satisfy all those parties. So to make a long story short, it was generally agreed that while the separation of powers doctrine does limit legislative authority to mandate the executive take certain administrative acts, so for instance, like executing a document or firing or disciplining an employee, those are clearly executive acts. As a general matter, the legislative branch can establish reasonable reporting requirements for the administration and its departments. So the proposed substitute in front of you today reflects the consensus language that was reached between those relevant stakeholders. And I'll of course let the parties speak for themselves if you have any questions for them. But we believe that these changes uphold those separation of powers principles without undermining the original intent of this legislation, which again was to establish the expectation that county agencies and departments will be responsive to investigations and recommendations made by the Inspector General. So I'd be happy to go through the detail of the amendment at the committee's leisure, but I'd also note that should the committee adopt this substitute today, the county executive has agreed to add his name as a co-sponsor to the legislation. So it was, I think, a productive conversation that was had. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yes, Councilman Schron.
So at this point in time, we have unanimity as far as the language. If we're saying that the county executive is willing to sign on as a co-sponsor, then there's nothing left other than for us to actually go forward, assuming everybody in the committee is in agreement. There's not going to be an 11th hour issue that's going to come up, you anticipate?
That is my expectation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Miller.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the substitute version as the working version before the committee.
Second.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion's approved. Any further discussion? You know, I just want to say that this has been a bit of a winding road, but I'm glad that we're here today and we all have come to consensus, and certainly having my colleagues and the executive and working with our law department and the Inspector General, and I certainly have to say Mike King has done an outstanding job in his research in making sure that we all understand legally what we can or can't do. And there was never an intent to try to interfere with the workings of this county. It is more of the reporting so that we are more aware perhaps of some things that don't rise to the surface as quickly as that we get a good understanding when the Inspector General reports any suspected waste, fraud, or abuse of any of our county agencies. So I think it's a great step forward. I look forward to having this on the council agenda. And having said that, I will ask for a motion to refer ordinance 2018-0013 to the full council, second reading.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Schron.
Yes, I wish to acknowledge the hard work of our leader on this. Councilwoman Baker has seen this as a major issue and has not relented in her tenacity to keep going forward, even though there was times, and we appreciate our staff helping to work with it. And I appreciate that the county executive has come to agreement, and certainly our IG from the very beginning. There was three of us that are still here that felt that an independent inspector general was a key component. Having spent 28 years in the Army, I know how important an independent inspector general is. And with that, I think the voters spoke highly when they voted to support that independence in passing that. And then this legislation is the next component of making that independence have the impact out there. So I am also just as concerned from the county executive standpoint of getting the right balance. And we're the legislative body. That office is the executive body. It's their job to execute It was hopefully one of the things that I was a proponent of, that if we have an issue from the Inspector General that needs to be addressed, it needs to go to the county executive's desk, because they're the ones, that person sitting in that chair is the one who has the authority. And so we need to be always conscious of where our role starts and stops, and where the role of the executive starts and stops. So I think this legislation captures that fine balance that you can walk down that line. And, you know, we're seeing this obviously played out at the national level. I would like to hope that we won't have to go through that kind of playing out those roles at the local level. The county executive is the county executive with that responsibility to carry out the duties and the execution. Our job is to watch the finances, be the eyes and ears, and be the checks and balances on that. And we both understand our roles, and I think this legislation captures that. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Madam Chair.
Good. Yes. And I appreciate those comments. I do agree with everything you just said, and I think that this is a good day for our county government.
I would also like to commend the chair, Ms. Baker, for her leadership and perseverance. It's just proof that one doesn't have to be a left-wing troublemaker like Elizabeth Warren to be a persister. You have earned that title, and I would also like to thank Mike King for his able assistance, and thank the law department, the executive, and the inspector general for their active involvement in helping us reach a consensus. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I think it's all been said. And
It
again,
has.
I just want to acknowledge our chairperson. You have given good leadership, and this is a good piece of legislation.
Thank you, Councilman. And also, Councilman Miller, I know we were together on this, even though my name is on this, but we were from the beginning, working through all the different paths of understanding where we can or can't go. And so I appreciate your years of being here and that guidance and experience. It was very helpful, so thank you. All right, this is passed. So didn't we have to vote?
You still have to vote, yes.
I thought we did. Okay, so ordinance 2018-0013, I'm asking for a support to go to full council for second reading. We did that already.
Yeah, you made the motion. Yeah, you just have to vote. We have a
Oh, we
motion and a
just have to
second.
vote. All right. Then, all in favor?
Hi.
Hearing none? Hearing all in favor, no opposed? Motion is approved. Sorry about that, threw off a little bit. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.